and nobody's here for that intro. Are you serious right now? You guys are the worst. So it's Tuesday, and it is time for a Jaglone meeting. There we go. There's two, Tennyson and Radivere. I think that guy fought Godzilla. Radivere, coconut fiber, straight mid, no cap. That's for real. Hashtag on God. So, trying to make Kevin laugh backstage. So, guys, tonight, I've been waiting for this. We are going to air some grievances in the hobby, okay? I brought on the best person I could think of for it. And I'll tell you what, since we announced it, I saw 2 other pages copy this idea. They copied me, yo. There's no way all 3 of us came up with this idea at the same time. And I don't follow those people. So I got beef with them now. So I'm stretching the truth a little bit. But yeah, so we got a lot of topics to talk about. First up, before we get started, we'll get into it. We'll get right into it. So, Moon is here. Awesome. We got 6 piled in now. Okay. You guys missed the awesome intro. You need to see my cool thing that I did. But, oh yeah, and happy holidays. This will be the last episode of the year. So, here you go. Yeah, look at that. That's Elf. Buddy the Elf. Here we go. Let's bring on my boy, Kevin. Kev, welcome back to the show. Can I call you Kev? Are we at that level?
I think we're at that level now.
Does anyone call you Kev?
So many. I have a lot of names I go by.
Okay, all right. I bet you do. I bet only a few of them are the same, like close to your actual name.
Oh, yeah.
Who do we got here? We got Jedi Monkey, Josh Sods. Miles is here. Hopefully Vance will be here. Item 13. That's our newest Patreon subscriber, guys. We're going to have a Salvation Army bucket out because I found out I could buy those online before the show. So, but this is our last show of the year, Kevin, and I'm glad I have you on. So it might be the last show we do if we get hard enough. So it might be the last one ever. I have a bet. If anybody in the comments wants to post, I'm going to check again next week. Next Tuesday, we want to see how many subs I lose for this episode. Because I got a lot to say, and Kevin's not quiet about anything. So this could get rough.
Not at all.
Yeah. H&H Husbandry. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is? Okay. Yeah. All right. You brought some friends. All right. Beef is what's for dinner. I brought my beef. Did you bring your beef?
Totally did not bring the beef. I'm horrible when it comes to remembering food, dude.
Son of a bitch. You said Slim Jims.
Food is not my thing.
Slim Jim's like beef adjacent, but I feel like New York, it's like a food group.
Not so much the Slim Jim. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Jersey? What is it?
Jersey's all about just being dirty. Nobody likes Jersey.
Hence the Slim Jims.
The trash can of New York.
The Garden State.
Yeah.
Speaking of gardens, so do you want to kick us off with our first beef? Or I got a list for once. This is like the first time I have a list. Or third time? Third time.
Let's start off. What do you want to go with?
Let's go. Well, this is a broad category, and I think we both talked about it and have been talking about it online. Misinformation in the hobby. And by the hobby, guys, we mean exotics keeping. Kevin's kept a lot of exotics. I've kept a lot of exotics. I know a lot of people that have kept exotics, obviously. So, and okay, here's my credentials. Okay, I'm not a scientist. I have no degrees. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm like the jack of all trades of exotics. I don't know Latin names. I know like 4 Latin names, and they're only because I have them in my house. That's and they're isopods, which some of them you kind of have to know. So that's the only name they get. So that's all I know. You were talking a lot of Latin before the show, and I just was like, yeah, Dendrobates, sure, man, whatever you got. And then it took me. You said frog, and I was like, that's right, it's a frog. So I was like, that's not a lizard. We were talking about lizards like a second ago. What's Dendrobates?
Yeah, swaps out real quick.
Yeah, you did. You jumped ships. You jumped whole phylums on me, and I don't think that's fair. So yeah, I'm like a science half nerd. Like we were talking, so Animal Planet has existed, Discovery Channel, all the Channel 11, like the Mutual of Omaha.
That was a good one.
That's old school. That's old school. Marty Stauffer.
Who is that? He was like another. He was a bald Australian guy, I think. Australian or South African, I can't remember, but he was like a hillbilly almost. Huh?
I know who you're talking about. I
can't remember his name. He was like the second most animated dude, maybe even more animated than Irwin was.
He must be Australian then. That must be it.
Can't remember his name.
We'll figure it out. Someone will say it in the thing. So we're
Yeah.
talking about. No, this is a bald guy, Chris. Steve Irwin has some beautiful hair. Say what you want about him. He had great hair.
He had a full set, you know.
He did.
Wish I could say the same, but
I was gonna wear a hat so you felt better, but
well, I got to rep New York.
There you go.
We can't all be as luxurious as you with your sparkly sweater.
Who can? I am showing off that I make
Nah, it's not Austin Stevens. This is way before Peterson, dude. He wasn't even born yet.
Austin Stevens comes to mind. It would be like the late 80s, right? Or mid 80s?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, all right. I'm thinking Marty Stauffer's like early 80s even. And Mutual of Omaha, all that stuff. I remember when Disney was shoving lemmings off of a cliff to show that lemmings run off a cliff.
Yeah.
You remember that scandal?
Total fucking lie on that one, dude. Yeah.
There was a guy off camera with a push broom just shoving lemmings off the cliff.
There you go. That's a great piece of misinformation right there. Lemmings jump to their death for no apparent reason. Yeah, other than Disney thought it was cool.
Disney were like, you know what? We can make a cartoon out of this probably. And then they scrapped the cartoon. They heard those lemming screams. And they were like, oh, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
No. And then watership down.
Yeah, by the way, if you're political and you want to make fun of your opponent, like don't use sheep, use lemmings, because that people still believe that's true. So use lemmings, okay? Don't use sheep. It's stupid. Yeah, so what are your credentials? What are your credentials, Kev?
Used to work for the Bronx Zoo, the reptile keeper there, keeping exotic animals. Over 2 decades now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I've kept everything from scorpions, tarantulas, true spiders. I had death stalkers. I bred Lyris quinquestriatus death stalker. I tried breeding Sicarius thompsoni, the 6-eyed sand spider. I failed with that. I have no problem talking about what I failed with. No problem sharing my success stories. I mean, I breed beetles, I breed millipedes, isopods, velvet worms. Got my hand in a lot.
You want to see people get angry about millipede husbandry? Like, look at Kevin's. Follow Kevin. Yeah. You will see some flame come out of some eyes, man. Let me tell you. And that's what got me started on this. It's just that one alone. And I'm sure there's a million misinformation things that are out there. But the millipede one, I think, is the strongest because there's still keepers that, like big names, that keep them wrong on purpose, basically, because it's easy. Oh, so, yeah. Yeah, so I think we have, between us, we've got some credentials. So, I know a lot of stuff. You know a lot of stuff. I think my problem with a lot of the stuff is everybody's like, oh, where's the science? Where's the science? A lot of this shit falls under common sense. Like, if you know a medium amount about biology and, like, anatomy of creatures on Earth, it's common sense. A lot of it is just common sense. Like, why would you need proof of this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then if you just look at where they come from, you know, like, no animal in the wild, well, no python in the wild spending all of its time in a burrow, no light, you know, like there's papers now that show ball pythons are semi-arboreal and people are still trying to argue just because this breeder over here that got cancer now, he's dying. Oh, he did this. He's a great guy. Go fuck him, piece of shit.
Beep, beep, where's my
keeps everything in racks, just dying. No. Way old, way done with him. You should just go already. Willing to say that. I don't care. Jay from Prehistoric, another fucking piece of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, oh, no, they do better in racks. Yeah, right. You're a scientist all of a sudden who's been studying them? Nah, you keep them fat in a closet, bro.
He does.
Get over yourself.
And he pisses them off, so they try to strike him. Like,
yeah, his
piss off a fat snake like
that he loves showing off, dude. Oh,
yeah. Like if you have a snake that fat and is trying to strike you, like you did something wrong. Like you are doing something wrong. That's not. It's not like an angry snake or a crotchety snake. It's just a snake being a snake, and you're being a jerk. So
keep him in a tiny ass cage, no cover, no hide or anything.
Yeah, Kyle's not wrong. This is a good episode. Kyle. We're gonna drop some names. We're gonna piss some people off. If you're a fan of Jay I don't even know what his show is. What's his show?
I'm not even going to advertise him.
There you go. All right, you guys know who it is. The guy's got some lame zoo. He did have one cool thing that I saw he did, that he had like the snakes bite a chicken breast, and then he came back to it a week later. I didn't know why he had to do 30 different snakes or whatever, but I mean, it was the neurotoxins didn't do anything. and the ones that break it down.
They shouldn't. That's not what they're
Right? It's
designed
not
to
what they do.
do.
But then he
The
had
word
like
neuros in it.
what's the other one? The
Hemotoxin, cytotoxin.
one that just starts to digest it.
Hemotoxin breaks down blood cells. Breaks down tissue cells, and cytotoxin breaks down muscle cells. So both of those would cause rot. That's what you see in most vipers.
It was bad.
Lapids have it, like certain cobras and stuff, but for the most part, lapids are neurotoxic.
Yeah. Guys, hit the like button for all this hate. Hit the like for hate. All right. I want to show my wife how many people enjoy hate. No, I don't. Kyle came today. It's nice. So yeah, so that guy is a font of misinformation, and he's huge. He's super famous.
Yeah.
The Ants Canada guy. He's the guy who got me into ants.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he's pretty famous for misinformation or like embellishments, we'll call it. He's not a scientist. He's an ant keeper. So I don't really take him for scientific knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a successful ant keeper. So whatever he's doing, I just want to keep ants. I don't need to know like
what thing is. You have to look at what species are they keeping. You know, if it's something that can breed anywhere, like your little scabers running around, then is that really anything to brag about when it's something that easy?
My scaber's doing great. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to keep it around isopods, but we can definitely branch out just because isopods. I think you and I have both been arguing on some hot button items that aren't really hot button. I don't understand why people are so pissed. This whole episode branched out of a comment that I made in a Facebook group that is rife with not misinformation, but like clinging to willful ignorance. Like they're just like, I do it this way and it's been fine. Good. That's good. But you got to admit that you could do it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And we could always improve our keeping. So, so this came out of a topic. Somebody's talking about sterilizing their leaves, their bark, everything they find outside to bring into their pods. Now, full disclosure, I do nothing. I do nothing. They sit in a bag for a couple of weeks because I just ran out. So they sit in a bag. They're dried out. They're in my garage. Then I bring them in and I use them. That's all I do. Could I be better? Might I bring something in? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that really is going to affect my isopods in my yard? No, not in my yard.
Not.
Yeah, it's would be a real slim chance. So I mean, I'm taking the chance. I'm not saying you should with your crazy expensive stuff. You don't have to follow what I do. But after talking to a lot of people, I feel like best practices is not what I do. But best practices is not to bake or boil or destroy everything that's in there that they're going to get to. There's bacteria. There's all kinds of stuff in the leaves that you're bringing in that are there to help break down the leaves, which is what the isopod is going to feast on. The broken down leaves, not the dried, shitty leaves. So yeah, this thing went crazy. But in truth, when discussing isopods, pretty much all your information has changed. It has. A lot of the information has changed. Chris Biggs brings up a great point.
Yeah.
Most of the information on isopods has changed in the last 3 or so years. That's true.
Big time. Now people are actually, for the most part, people seem to be updating their husbandry and, looking to improve as best as they can. But a lot of people still think, let me put some shit in this, because they live in these caves. When you talk to the actual people collecting them or the people who go out there and check it out, not one has ever been found in any bat cave or near any other type of cave that there is. There's a few that are found on limestone rocks, but you know what? They don't absolutely need limestone. Limestone's mostly calcium carbonate. Sometimes, depending on where it's at, has a little magnesium in it or manganese. I can't really remember right now, but one of the two M minerals. So that's it. You don't need to get these big rocks that could potentially crush your isopods every time you lift and put it down. More than adequate just getting powders, tossing it in. I mean, the poo thing, that drives me nuts, dude. Said it before. These aren't plants, bro. Like, do you want to eat that? Like, yeah, detritivore means that they eat decaying organic matter. Doesn't mean that they're eating poo. They're not designed to break down feces.
Yeah. Some of us have found several unique species in South Africa. Oh, I see Biggs finally shows up.
Oh, yeah. There's, is it Dedo, I think it is, the spiky ones from South Africa. They live along shores, but they don't tolerate salt water from what I've read. But nobody has those in
What's up, Ryan?
captivity now, as far as I remember.
In captivity, they're just finding them in the
So
wild.
the person who did collect them didn't realize they were sexually dimorphic. So he only collected the males because the males have the spikes, the females don't. They just look like some plain old isopod. So obviously you can't make more with just one sex.
So are those spikes just Europods? Is it just crazy Europods? I'm kidding.
No,
Starting
it's kind
misinformation.
the Cuban spikies are found on limestone, but again, they don't need limestone. They do fine with calcium carbonate and other minerals added. And to be fair, part of Cuba where they're actually from, it's made up of limestone. That's the main mineral. That's the main base. And then there's some dirt and detritus on top just from falling down vegetation around it. So it's real different than saying that we're finding cubars inside limestone caves that are loaded with bats.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy when you're talking to people that actually collect them and the information that we have here. Like, sure, there's bats probably in the area. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Look at P-Biz Bear, Penis Bear.
Yeah,
My glasses. I needed glasses.
That's my guy.
Okay, I could tell. I could tell who you're bringing to the show. What is this? One thing I hate about boiling versus non-boiling leaves is some people bash you for boiling leaves. Like, it's absolutely wrong to do it. Ooh, Alan. I love you, Alan. I don't think it's wrong to do it. I just think it's better not to. How's that? I don't think you're wrong for doing it. I think there's better practices. You can not boil it.
It's not really bad if you do it right. Like Alan.
Oh, here he is.
He says he lets them start to decompose again.
Yeah.
And something I want to clear up is that I started the whole soak in water thing, spreading that information around. I'm not saying I'm the one that's first to do it. I know that I'm a big player, probably the first to actually spread that around. I never really clarified how the whole thing works other than explaining the protein-rich biofilm. And somebody brought this up to me, and I went back and read some comments, and I was like, wow, there is a totally wrong explanation going around. So let me clear that up. So the whole basis behind soaking your stuff in water, one, it's going to kill any hitchhikers that probably be on it. The exception of earthworms, they're really tolerant when it comes to water. I've had things soaking a month, and there's still living earthworms in there. Their eggs can tolerate being in the water that long. So that's the one thing you may have to look out for, but ultimately haven't really seen that being too much of an issue. There's usually not many, and I just pluck those out and toss them in with my turtle anyway. He takes care of that. But one of the big things when it comes to soaking in water does not break down lignin. Water can't break down lignin. It's physically impossible. Well, chemically, it's impossible. What it does do is break down cellulose. But one thing that soaking in water does, it adds back what is it called? Ascomycetes. And yeah, Ascomycetes. Yeah, Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes.
Show off.
Can't really pronounce it right now. But that is a freshwater fungi that survives. Well, they're found on land. They're a sac fungus, like the ones that kind of look like cups or a little sack for the most part. This is that type of fungus. There are terrestrial ones that you find decomposing hardwood logs. There are plenty that live in fresh water. And the best part is the spores are just in the air. You collect rainwater from your gutter, bam, there you go. Right there is going to be loaded with that, as well as some agaricomycetes and Basidiomycetes. And all of those, they're all different fungus that are considered white rot fungus. The whole time we're looking for white rot fungus. Now, when you're soaking the leaves, you don't really have that right now. You just have the one, the Ascomycetes, and those, like I said, live in water as well. So once you develop that biofilm on top of the leaves, you're going to have both nitrites and protein added to that. You'll break down the cellulose, and the Ascomycetes that are in the water will start to break down that lignin. Then you let it air dry, whatever spores are on it, none of that dies. It goes dormant. When you put it back into your humid environment, like your setups and tubs that you have, it starts the decomposition once again, and that breaks it down further. Another thing, like I was talking about the other two, the Basidiomycetes and the Agaricomycetes, those are pretty much mushrooms you see all the time. Agaricomycetes cover a range of mushrooms from portobellos to toadstool mushrooms like Amanita muscaria, those red ones with the white dots that people know. So it covers a whole broad range, and all those work as different types of white rot fungi. Yeah. So my whole means behind that and adding the molasses, like I say, is to pretty much have a extra means to speed up the recolonization of these bacteria that will break down everything and help the Ascomycetes work better to already have that kickstart to decomposition. And then if you have leaves that are already really heavily decomposed, that'll just keep on going. You're not going to kill off the other fungi on it, and you'll have different bacteria colonize. So yeah, there's the full explanation other than soak leaves and it makes something good.
My soaking is just good enough. If all that crap's in the air anyway, just soak them. I was just soaking them. You had mentioned it, and I was just soaking them to help them kind of like, I feel, and this is the common sense part I talked about earlier, the wet leaves are going to be easier for them to break down in the first place. Borderline, like hands down, they're just easier to chew.
Like I said, the water breaks down cellulose. You see toilet paper in a toilet, that's cellulose, paper cellulose. You see how water just dissolves that. Same principle in leaves and wood.
Not the amounts I use, but yeah, probably. But I gotta feed those ice pods. I gotta feed those ice pods, man, with all those lumps.
Leaves I usually let soak 2 weeks to a month. Like, kind of it's when I remember to take them out or when I need to restock my dry bin.
Yeah,
but
I have
2 weeks is usually the minimum that I'll do.
I have 2 buckets, and I don't use it that much. I don't have that many colonies, but 2 5-gallon buckets, basically full. And then when the one is empty, I start in on the next one and fill the empty one back up. Yeah. I don't rinse it out. I don't do anything. I just put new leaves in new water. That's it. Yeah. So, and they're open topped for the most part. It smells not great, but it's kind of nice. It's got that earthy, like after rain smell kind of for a day or two. And then it's really funky.
Yeah, until, the byproducts from everything breaking down starts to kick in.
Yeah, you get a couple of water striders on the top. It's good times. Yeah, it does smell. I don't keep it uncovered. But I do pop the top every now and then, just so it's not fermenting and getting just stupid in there. Yeah, I don't think it has to be super complicated, but I like where your head's at with like adding a little bit of molasses and getting all that. See, I didn't know about any of that chemical stuff. That was my ignorance. And I'll tell you guys, here's the thing. Like, I didn't know that. You mentioned the soaking the leaves thing while we were on the show. While you were on this show, I think. That's the first time I heard it. With millipedes. We were talking about millipedes.
Yeah.
For the first time. Actually, you're like the 3rd millipede episode, but I don't have a memory. So, but I didn't know that, but I'm accepting that. Like, you can fight ignorance just by accepting new knowledge. That's all you have to do. It's super easy.
Yeah.
You can fight it in yourself. So change your mind. Like the thing I changed my mind on today was we were talking about baking and sterilizing. I didn't understand that the sellers kind of have to do that to be able to sell it, to ship it. So people don't, but you have to do it. So there's all kinds of ways. If you send instructions, maybe a little instruction sheet on how to like re-inoculate it or get it back to awesome. I don't know. Like there's ways to do it that are easy. Because there's some great substrates and great people out there selling leaves and moss, whatever.
Like you said, the heat treating, that's why I have an argument with people. This is a bioactive substrate.
Yeah.
You heat treated it though. So any real microorganisms are going to be killed off. That's the whole purpose, especially if you're a big commercial setup. That's a big thing right there. You would have to, or else, you're going to get a whole lot of heat coming down on you for that stuff. So, it's a bioactive substrate. It's loaded with bat shit. Ooh, it's great for you.
I'm tired of that. Chicken blood.
Yeah, it's just obnoxious.
You can use chicken blood as a fertilizer too, so you can try that. Bet your ass about to go nuts.
Yeah, chicken, goat, all that fun stuff.
You can have
find toenail clippings. Dude, if I see one more person talk about their goddamn nails to feed to their bugs.
I think I started that. I got to be honest. I think I started that. I'm the first person I know that said something about it, and I had a huge reaction. And now I see it everywhere. Like this year, I see it everywhere.
It's constantly in the groups now. It's taken over, and everyone thinks they're brand new to the idea. Ooh, yeah. What if I do this?
I know I'm not. But it was like right when I first started iSpods, it was in a live chat. It wasn't even on the show. And it got a huge reaction, and I thought it was funny. Because I did do it, and then they disappeared. So I'm guessing they just dragged it off somewhere, chewed off what they wanted and left it.
So.
Yeah. So, whatever. I don't do it like I don't collect my toenail clippings and throw them in there like, oh, hey, guys, here you go. It was something to see. It was funny. Like, will they eat this? And it was dairy cows. So, of course.
I've seen posts recently where people want to make it a staple in the diet. And
toenails?
No. A staple? It's just complicated. Like, why? It's filthy.
I say let them. There's enough sellers out there. There's enough people with an overabundance of pods trying to sell them that we don't need it. So it's all good. I saw someone in the groups ask if they could feed dog teeth to their pods. I saw that. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You can answer every one of those questions with yes. They are made. You could feed anything to your iSpods. You could literally put it in there. Is it going to be great for them? Probably not. But like they're made to remove heavy minerals and heavy metals from the soil. Like that's their job. Like salts. I give mine sea salt. I give them those little Himalayan sea salt crumbles. Not a lot, just a little sprinkle here and there. It disappears. I was putting it on a
necessary thing, but
what's that?
That's unnecessary, but
no, it's not necessary. But whatever.
It's isopods.
Yeah,
just a little black pepper. Spice it up. Some paprika.
I eat that. I had to set out my little dishes again. I have these little tiny dishes I printed. They're like little tiny dog dishes.
Some substrate only going to commercial buyers. I haven't heard that. I mean, I have made substrates specifically for my commercial buyers who eat a lot, like 50 plus pounds, and I'll make it according to what they're feeding it to. But otherwise, I haven't heard anyone only selling to commercial spots now.
I know of at least one person that their goal was to just sell to. I wonder if that's them. Their goal was to sell just commercially. I will say I lost some colonies to that substrate. So I don't know, but hopefully not. Hopefully it's not them selling commercial, but maybe.
Oh, in the UK? That's different.
Oh, okay. That's not the guy. No,
actually,
it's a different guy. Chris Amos.
I may know that person.
Well-seasoned iSpot is no different than an Olive Garden crouton. That's definitely one of your people. My pet store picked my substrate up. Nice, Kyle. Nice. The local stores, they're so good to deal with. Kyle's iSpods Anonymous. He's got some good stuff. Check him out. Definitely check him out. He's got some good stuff. He's a good guy. We support good guys like Kyle. He's my little brother. What else were we talking about? We're talking about sanitizing, use of leaves.
Must be blackguard shit.
What's that?
Must be blackguard shit, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, you know the guy. Chris, that's the guy. That's the guy killing pods. We talked about willful ignorance. I think that's a big hurdle in all the hobbies is people that are clinging to the old ways that didn't know any better. Like, oh, I keep my lizards on AstroTurf in a tub, and they're fine. Oh, yeah. I spray them down twice a week. They're good. They're good to go. They're surviving.
One of the big things I see with the invert hobby, people love to do just pour water down the sides of their tubs and just saturate the substrate that way. That's retarded, dude. Like, you're going to drown anything buried in there. If you keep millipedes and you pour water in like that, you're going to drown whatever's molting. You're going to drown your eggs, Like, there's no reason to do that. Your substrate should never get so dry to the point where you have to rehydrate it in that manner. And that's another issue with coir. I mean, mix it in a little bit for like keeping tarantulas or something, sure. Isopods or any other detritivore, especially not millipedes, no isopods, none of that stuff. But if that dries out, it becomes hydrophobic for a while and it won't absorb water. If you've ever taken totally dry coir and you put room temp or cold water, it all floats on the surface for a good amount of time. If it's not warm or hot, it doesn't get in there. So now you're going to have this just water pooling up there, possibly drowning your animals. You know, they get it. Like if you keep things like, maybe not springtails, but beetles and stuff, that would be an issue for them. They can't get out of it too.
Almost anything you would put on core because they like it. Ice spots can only eat their food in 3D printed dishes, just like in the wild. That's true, Chris. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, they need special dishes.
My beef is still using the R slur. Yeah, it's not the best. Not my favorite, but...
Funny thing about that, I was recently called that by the New York State Department of Health. So,
by the New York State Department of Health?
Yeah, I applied for a job at a hospital, and apparently I'm considered disabled. So,
you know what? I would have put money on that.
Yeah.
Solid. You're considered disabled. What's the matter with you?
Epilepsy makes me disabled.
Okay.
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Didn't know you had epilepsy. Let me get my shirt back on. Let me make this a real show.
Yeah.
So you don't watch Pokemon, I guess.
Kidding me? See my Pokeball?
You could die. That one's seen some miles.
Oh yeah, dude.
That Pokeball's seen some miles. So
that thing's I think I did that when I was 18. So
then definitely.
Like that's a good chunk.
That's a good chunk, all right. But I think that clinging to the ignorance in the old ways. Mm-hmm. Like I know somebody, I don't want to name names, and I'm sure that he still does it, but huge in the hobby, in the inverts hobby. Huge, one of the top names. Still using core on most of the stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's like, they're breeding, his stuff's doing fine. Doing fine is the thing that I had a problem with.
Yeah, and I know who you're talking about. He's big on if it doesn't work for him, it's difficult to keep. But he uses horrible practices, hasn't updated his methods. He mixes coir with dirt from his backyard. So, because he gets some things to breed on that, it's fine for everything. No, it's really not. And you'd see better numbers if, had better husbandry.
Change it up a little bit. And I'm not pointing anybody out to say, like, F that guy, but I'm just saying, like, this is an example. It's a huge example of people.
Him, I won't call out that bad just because he has contributed greatly to the hobby.
Hugely.
Unlike Brian or Jay. They've done nothing. They've taken animals, bred easy animals. Dude, I had ball pythons just to feed to my cobras. Ooh, you're bragging you breed them? Come on, that's nothing, dude. You came out with a color. Ooh, that's cool.
They all come
breed a Shinosaurus, breed something that needs to be bred.
I would love to go to a reptile show that bans ball pythons. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, I don't hate ball pythons, but I hate walking through 13 rows of ball pythons to find somebody that's selling jumping spiders.
Ball pythons, leopard geckos, crested geckos. It's just nuts.
I mean, they're cool, and I would say get them from a breeder rather than a store. But, like...
One cool thing I got to say, out here, upstate New York, we're doing the first ever only breeders expo. Absolutely no wild caught allowed. You have to prove that you bred these animals. And it's nothing but captive bred. I'm hoping that really catches on. That would be a huge game changer in the industry, I think.
Me too. I don't know where you would get all the weird shit, but like,
depends on where you're at. But it really depends on where you're at. Out here, I'm shocked. Some of the gecko breeders I've found. So there are those ones that I feel like a breeders only convention, they'd be more willing to vend there, instead of having to deal with somebody who has a wild caught of the same species they have and have to argue, like not even argue, but just have to talk to somebody. Why is yours so much more expensive? I could get this one over here for half the price.
Yeah.
And there's half a chance it's going to survive, with this one, it's going to survive. You have somebody to talk to who's going to go back and be like, hey, there's an issue with this. Usually they're willing to work with you, try to solve the problem or rectify,
Yeah.
Somebody selling wild caught, not really caring. It's just we push them out as we go. There's no respect for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
To talk about the water wicks, I don't see a point.
The water wicks?
I'm not going to knock him for coming up with an idea, but that kind of goes back to me talking about people keeping these animals like plants, you know? They have the water bulbs for plants where you fill it up and stick it in the dirt, and as that dries, it puts that back. So it doesn't really make any sense to me. And like I said before, if your substrate is getting to the point where it's drying out that bad, you have other issues to worry about.
You got to up your schedule a little bit. More than once a month is probably good.
I mean, if it's constantly wicking water in there, then how do you know you're not oversaturating it?
Yeah.
It's just leaving you with the top area dry while the bottom's real wet, you know? So you're going to fill that and then probably end up misting again to begin with.
So you're doing both. You're adding extra work, technically. You're adding it in. Yeah, I think large amount of people getting in isopods. I've never seen a forest floor. Yeah, I think Biggs has a lot of good videos about like proper care. Like, even to me, I was like, that's a lot of effort for isopods. But at the same time, there were when Marinella came in, the tricolors, all those, it was those guys, right? So you want to invest in those, but I think Biggs basically keeps all of his stuff that way.
I have an issue with prices on isopods too, like the Merlinella. Some of them I can understand, they're more difficult to breed. They take a lot of time to grow.
Sure.
I don't see why ember bees are so expensive. Like they look like they crap out babies, dude. And they grow fairly quick.
They're the new hot stuff. They're the new hotness. So everything that's the new hotness, like zebras used to be expensive. So in the beginning, when I first started, zebras were not cheap. They weren't like exorbitant, but they weren't priced as dairy cows either.
I remember when cheap. Armadillo Klugies were expensive. They were when puddings came out, dude. They were the hottest thing going, and there was nothing special about them, bro. Nope. They were a purple. They were basically a purple vulgare.
Yeah,
but they were expensive. The yellow maculatums, people went nuts for those, dude. Like,
which ones?
The yellow stripe maculatums.
Thank you for not saying yellow zebra.
No.
Poorly named isopods is one of my hugest pet peeves, and I think it's.
Oh, I mean, like Diablo, Pink Lambo, Laser, Angry Monk. I think I saw something with a nun recently. Why?
Was there Angry Nun? I think it was an Angry Nun.
There's Angry Monk and Angry Nun?
Yeah, it's like the monk and the nun kind of go together, I think.
No, why?
Well,
it should be angry, nothing. I'm angry for these stupid names. Blue Pigeon, there's another one, like Happy Nun, so it's Angry Monk and Happy Nun.
Angry Monk, Happy Nun.
All right, cool. Okay.
Gotcha.
There's Child Touching Priest in the mix, I bet. That'll be the
Girth
next
Burger.
Girth Burger, bro.
Girth Burger is a great name for an isopod.
That's a millipede.
That's a millipede?
Yeah, so the Spirobolus red ties.
Is that really a thing?
I'll show you. I have them.
You have a Girth Burger?
Girth Burgers in the UK.
I bet they do. Here's the thing from Ben Quintana, who's been over to Thailand. The guys who find them, that is a Girth
Fairly
burger.
Girthy, but
that's like the gooey duck. Bigger. That's like the gooey duck of the millipede species.
Yeah.
They get bigger than that?
Yeah. I have my other bigger one that's buried down right now. So
nice.
When I see that in a few months.
The deal on some of these names, this is from when I had Ben from isopod.com on. The guys in Thailand who discover them, they get to name them, right?
Yeah.
They just name them after cool shit, like shit they think is cool. That's it. So if they're into pigeons, if they breed pigeons, it's a pigeon. If they like tigers, well, that's a tiger. And it's whatever kind of color it is. Like kinda. Squint hard, you can see it. So that's how you get a lot of these dumb names, but like yellow zebra. Awful. And whoever tried to cop Bumblebee for those horrible little rubber duckies,
dude,
they're not Bumblebee. That's the least Bumblebee looking thing ever.
Makes no sense. I don't care that they found them. They get to name them. How about you name them where you found them? You know,
hey,
like Phi Funds. Those made sense. That was the region they were found.
Is Pak Chong the same thing?
Yeah, that's where they were found. Like, why not do that? You know?
Some tough jerky. I mean, I don't know.
It also really helps in determining species. If I know this one's collected here, but they have a similar one that they collected from a different area, I'm not going to mix those together because it could potentially be something totally different. So later on down the line, for taxonomy purposes, why would I want to mix those two together?
Yeah. I think everybody here knows I'm really good at naming stuff. Just call me. I'll name your shit for you. Send me a pic. I'll give you 5 names to choose from. They're marketable. They're clever. People remember them. They're not Girthburger. I don't. Girthburger's my. I want that shirt. I want that on a shirt.
Girthburger.
Yeah, we got to find somebody who does like invertebrate shirts. They have that thing curled up and just Girthburger across the top. Like,
it's not a bad idea. Might have my friend do that.
Dude, you need that merch. You
need that merch on. One stupid isopod name, and I know where it started. And it's actually a group of not really friends, but one of them is my friend, and a couple of the other ones, associates. But the Guadalupe, the spiky Guadalupe that is in the hobby.
Yeah.
I know Nicole Lee still has. Those you'll sometimes see as Choco Drizzles. And that was done just to piss off the guy who collected them. It was a joke that went too far.
It's out of spite. What is this L number system used for new species of Loricarids?
No, I don't.
Loricarids? I don't even know what a loricarid is. What is that? Is that another kind of isopod?
Loricarids?
Elaborate, my friend.
I'm not sure what those are, actually. They're not isopods.
Placos?
I don't know what the L system is.
That must be how they're naming them, like how they're categorizing them. Like this is an L5 Laricarid or something.
I mean, that's what they were doing with that's what they did with millipedes for the most part. Like there was a Spirostreptus. Let me clear that up. Tropical catfish. Got you. Oh, that makes sense. Naming them like that off of an actual number. So that's what I was just saying. So like Spirostreptus species 1 should technically be called Spirostreptid because it's unidentified. It just happens to meet that group. It's not actually Spirostreptus. But that's species 1. There was also Spirostreptus species 2, 3, 4, up to 9. And then now some of those, they've actually been studied and put into actual species groups.
Yeah, beetle.
That's how I feel isopods should be, species 1, 2, 3, etc., until they're actually classified and put somewhere.
That makes sense. That makes sense, like a little holding thing that's easy to replace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Chris, that sounds like an awesome idea. I really would go for that instead of bullshit names.
I just heard they're renaming some stuff that's just named after a dude. I think it's chameleons. They're giving them new Latin names because they're taking the dude's name out of it. I forget what it was. I just read something about it. I wasn't thinking about bringing that up tonight, but that was something that I just read. They were changing the name away from.
Huh.
The guy discovered like 3 or 4 different species. Yeah.
Is it Jacksoni?
What's that?
Is it Jacksoni?
I don't think it's Jacksoni.
Jackson's chameleon. The one with the 2 horns?
Yeah, I don't know. That one I know. But wow, that's a Latin I know. Oh, shit. Because it's so easy.
It's pretty easy, huh?
Yeah. They need like.
That's another beef. They're not really Latin names. They're scientific. Because although most of them are Latin, it's also Greek.
Nobody cares about Greeks, dude. Come on. Nobody cares. Your little island.
That's the best place to go for a party, right?
Your little island with your olives.
Island of Lesbos, bro.
Well, hey, I got no business there. What's the point of me going there in the first place? Nothing.
A bunch of old dudes, if you've ever seen videos.
To get scorned.
I'm dead serious.
The whole island is just old dudes?
For the most part, yeah.
I saw that one of the Greek Isles, you can get a house. Like if you apply, they'll buy you a house and give you like a stipend to live there because they're running out of people.
No shit.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't really like people. I like living for free. Like I could do it.
Almost worth looking into at that point.
I like gyros. I'm on it. Like I know it's euros.
Yeah.
We're talking about beef. I want beef gyros. Makes so much sense. I thought Chris was just picking on me. He is, Laura. He is. No. Chris picks on everybody, so get used to it. So Rubber Ducky's example will be given a L number or I number, I for isopods. Funny. Until formally described. Yeah, that sounds good. I think you mean formally described, but that's okay. You're old. I will say going somewhere with Biggs and having to hear all the scientific names for everything instead of just the regular name on the thing, on the label is it's daunting. And correcting the whole place like the entire time, like this is wrong. Cool, man. I just saw there was an orange fish. Like that's what I was calling them. Mm-hmm. It's an eye opener. It's really an eye opener to actual scientists.
Tapir morph now.
Tapir morph. Panda Kings get ridiculous. There's a tapir morph.
I'm really tired of the new keepers coming into isopods and just not reading. Like recently, today there was somebody posting, "Hey, how do you think about line breeding?" The fuck
I saw that.
Dude? Where it's like, hey, I just produced this white one with orange spots. I'm gonna call it Creamsicle Dream. Now you got an orange Dalmatian, dude. Like that's just easy stuff to look
into. It just happens. It just happens in your bin. I saw that. I saw I think the biggest culprit is that group. I'm thinking about leaving it because it's all that is that isopod breeding and keeping and breeding, whatever. Mm-hmm. It is all people don't look at anything. They just come there and they're like, "Can I just throw in any old dirt?" And it's like then the same 10 guys get on there and bitch at each other for like 47 comments, and I get hooked in every time. Or they ask like that, like, "Oh, I'm thinking about line breeding," or "Hey, some kid was on there and I couldn't help myself, but he wanted to start a bug shop. He wanted to start a bug business. Could anybody give him some isopods?" And I was like, What?
I've seen that. And hey, I work for a shop or I own a shop. I'm looking for cheap prices.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah, you probably don't work for a shop. You just want to get what you want. And I get it. Like, you can get deals, but if you're coming out and that's the first thing you want, like, you're not going to go buy furniture and be like, "What's the cheapest I can get?"
Yeah,
you want to get quality. You want to get it from a quality guy. You don't want a guy who just like, "Oh, I know I have a tub of orange pandas around here somewhere," or red pandas. Did I just say orange pandas?
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'm out.
Red pandas.
I can go beat myself up. I got websites that changed the name of it to red pandas. They don't call them orange pandas anymore. Some of the sites because of this guy. Because
red pandas you're leading the way, bro.
No, I just am trying to redirect because orange pandas is not a thing, but red pandas is. Like, why not call them red pandas? Like, it's so stupid.
Makes sense.
People are like, they're not really red. Well, they're not really pandas. What do you want me to do about it? While we're arguing, but yeah, that's a group. I gotta call that group out. Like, it's not the group itself. There's probably some great people in there, obviously, but the people that don't read and don't do even a bare minimum of research before they go on a Facebook page and start asking the most basic question. It should be species Panda King orange. Thanks, invertebrate dude. By the way, I need to reach out to you.
No more business with TJ.
That's funny. I love when people correct me to bust my chops. What would it be? We'll be labeling like Cupara species Panda King orange.
Dude, I gotta find more.
You gotta say red. Say red. You gotta find more what? Woodlouse spider?
I found woodlouse spiders before, and then my wife misidentified another one and got my hopes up. I plan on filming a video, and so does TJ, that's going to really piss off isopod people.
All right. I'm down. I'm down to see that. Like, not that I want to, but they're kind of fun to. Sometimes they're kind of fun to make.
Oh, yeah.
Like every hobby is.
Dude, it's a bunch of babies now, man.
Every hobby
is. I hate to say it, but you have the old heads, Ben, Sean, what's his name? Jay. Like, those guys, they know what they're doing, but then for those 3, you have 50, where it's like, oh, I'm going to be a bug breeder and I'm going to sell all of these and make a ton of cash. You're getting into it strictly from the idea you're going to make money. You're sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Because every day there's 10 new ones who think that they're going to be the next big thing. And they all want to be on camera. They all want to be the next influencer, put stupid things on their face, hype stuff up. Oh, this is the world's most deadly tarantula. Cite me one paper that shows somebody died from a tarantula's venom.
You
Just
don't have to.
one.
You don't have to say that. Like, you don't have to say anything on TikTok or whatever. You can just say whatever you want, and no one's going to check. They're just going to be like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, 4 people are going to check, and no one's even going to read that. They're going to comment and be like, you don't know what you're talking about, and they're going to get 500 haters just rallying them with just dumb information or non-information.
Yeah.
Marinello faders. Yeah, and it's that whole influencer culture is insane to me. It's insane to me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm part of it, but I don't understand. The tiniest little part.
That's a big thing you see now too. A lot of the big names, they started scamming people like
really
last few months, not even like years or so. It's just like dudes fell off out of nowhere and don't really know what happened.
Wow. After trying to sell like a big old thing? Like after making a big sale or something, or?
Oh yeah, like multiple sales. There's one dude still trying to make things right, so I don't want to call him out just yet. Okay. But he owes people a few thousands right now with his stuff.
I heard about something like that like last year. And I don't know what happened. The guy still had stories the last time I saw it. He still, this happened. I don't like when people are jerking other people around. Like, don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it's things like this, like some people put up a lot of money on these animals and see stuff fall through like that. It's frustrating. Or I can't remember his name right now, but he's known for butterflies and moths. Huge scammer. If somebody remembers his name, comment it, and I'll shout out right now, blow him up. This dude belongs in jail. He's literally taken thousands of dollars from people.
Over butterflies?
Butterflies and moths, yeah. Knowingly send dead, dried out, non-viable eggs, dead pupa, just not send them anything. There we go. Matthew.
Probably.
Yeah, that's him.
Nakasaki. Nachasaki. More like Crotchasaki.
Huge scammer. If anyone has any stories to share about that, send them to me if you have personal experience. And I'll send them over to somebody who's working on getting that guy actually prosecuted.
Very cool. Very cool. I think a lot of these guys need to be, because it makes a bad name for the hobby. And I think that's another myth that needs to be dispelled. That when we were talking about everybody wanted to be a breeder, it crossed my mind. I got my first 5 colonies, and then within 2 months they exploded. And I was like, oh my God, I paid somebody for these? Like, I could sell these. Like, this is the easiest thing in the world. I never did.
Yeah.
And I made like 4 sales ever. I still apparently owe people for a giveaway I did that I never sent them their spots. I thought I did. I meant to. So I'm going to send those out next week. Probably. After Christmas, I'm going to send them out. But yeah, I didn't know. They called me out last week on the show. I was like,
no kidding.
Oh, it's been like a year. I mean, good for them. Like, weird way to do it. Maybe not on my live stream, but you know how to contact me. But still, like, good for them. Good for them. I applaud them.
How else are you going to remember to send it if they don't publicly shame you?
I mean, I was like, like derailed. And I was like, thank God I don't sell anything. And they called me out on that. It was like a free giveaway. But yeah, I mean, I still feel super responsible. I feel super bad. More Mile Matthew, not Kasaki. Oh, Beetle guy's making stuff up. Okay. But yeah, I think that's a big myth. That's a big misconception, and people think that it's so easy. And yeah, talk to anybody who does it for a living and is like quit their job to do it.
Yeah, I work a regular job, and then I come home and it's 2 to 3 hours every day taking care of my collection. And I don't even have that. Well, I have a fair amount, but my collection is minuscule compared to the larger breeders. Like,
but you have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of different stuff, like a variety.
Yeah. Right now, the most frustrating is feeding 30 baby centipedes, fruit flies, and tiny velvet spiders, and tiny tarantulas. I don't know how the big carnivorous breeders do it. It's,
I don't either.
you know, my millipedes, it's check a tub of dirt, you know, add more dirt, some leaves, good to go.
Well,
These things, I got tiny feeders. I'm from invert guy. I got some little compote Schwartzy roaches that I feed out, and those I got a tweezer feed. So it becomes a hassle. Like, I didn't go into this wanting to breed bugs and sell them. I really like keeping exotics, and I like breeding things that people have challenges with. For a while, I didn't even sell to the public. I openly sold, and then I went private for about a year or so, just because I didn't want to deal with any of that, you know. And I just started back up to the public a couple months back, and I won't sell most of the species I keep to the public still.
I mean, that adds such a big selling and like shipping and all of that adds such another level to it. Like, you're talking about 2 or 3 hours a night. Then you're talking on your shipping nights. Like, people do it like twice a week usually.
Yeah,
that's
mine's
2 nights,
Tuesday, Wednesdays for the live, and then all week long for the dry stuff whenever I can. Usually I try the next day to ship out dry goods, but sometimes it's 2 or 3 days. I disclose it on my website just because I don't want people like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, nah, this is a haul. Like, this is not something you just do on a whim. You kind of got to commit to it every day, whether you want to get down to the post office or not, you know?
Yeah, you'll get a sick day. Like, oh, I got a cold. Get your cold ass out to the
the animals don't care, you know. Your customers are gonna say, I don't give a shit. You know, Amazon drops things off in a day. Why can't you?
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. Like, don't compare a small
invertebrate dude, not invertebrate guy.
Invert guy. Thanks, I've gotten down to doing maintenance about once a week. Yeah, I imagine. That's a ton of stuff. There's a very good reason most of my pets can go a week or two without maintenance. Yeah, like, that's a lot of my stuff is low maintenance. So my blue tongue now is the most high maintenance thing. I check her and mess with her every day, but it's like she's a pet. She's not like a box of bugs or a little setup of bugs or even the ants, you know? Yeah, the ants are once a week. Not this guy, not the big girl, but she's a full-time job almost. So
yeah, I bet.
Keeping that fed, dude, keeping her fed is insane. The amount of food that she goes through, and they say that you can, like, I'm getting into my ant thing again, my ant talk again. They say that you can limit it, and that limits their growth. I don't know how you limit it. They lose their minds. They start climbing the walls. They're trying to get out nonstop when you start lowering their food.
Do they cannibalize things?
No, they don't really cannibalize. No, they won't eat each other. As far as I know, no. I haven't found their burial site yet either. Like, they usually find a little spot for a graveyard. I have not found it ever. So I would think she's probably back up to 7,000, I would say. I've never found a burial site in any of her stages of growth.
That's really odd.
Yeah, it's really weird because I don't sit and just watch her, though. I'm going to start.
Maybe you should.
I should. I'm neglecting my girl, Sheila. I'm neglecting Sheila. It's awful. What I was going to talk about, we were talking about selling, and this is probably all of those keeping myths or willful, ignorant keeping bullshit. Oh, we didn't talk about bins. Let's talk about bins first. Tubs, bins. This was your thing.
Tubs? I don't see what comment.
It's not a comment. We're just talking.
Oh.
Yes, I'm not reading this shit. Are you serious? No.
Yeah. I feel like your face get close. I was like, this old man can't see now. He's got his glasses.
I can't. I gotta get like what? And these glasses are like old, so I need new. I gotta do this with bifocals.
Pac-Mans are more difficult. I honestly have no experience with Pac-Man frogs, other than helping my buddy get one to eat, and that took me like 2 weeks to do.
One male in a 25-gallon, then a chubby frog. People put them in 10 gallons, and that's shitty.
I do have a chubby frog. If you're talking about the rice paddy frog, I can't remember its genus. I think it's KHOLA something, but yeah, that guy. I see that one maybe once every 6 months or so, unless I decide to go digging in the substrate. But yeah, there you go, the Asian painted bullfrog. But
So
Otherwise, I toss in food. The food goes missing, so I know it's alive. And then I'll see, like, on the sides of the enclosure, I'll see new holes where it obviously was digging. But in terms of me physically seeing it, yeah, it's extremely rare. 2-3 times a year if I don't go digging for it.
is that one of those
So,
things you're like excited? That's one of those pets like, oh my God, I saw it.
dude, I call my wife and everything to like come run and see this frog. I'm like, it's still here, it's still alive. I have that and two Scaphophrine maramata. No, Madagascarensis. I don't have the maramatas anymore. They're Madagascar rain frogs. They're like the size of a ping pong ball, a little smaller. Those are also burrowing frogs that, again, when I see them, like, I gotta run, call my wife. I'm like, look, they surfaced again. Finally.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
See, I bet your wife is like, oh, that's cool. My wife would be like, oh, hey, I still don't give a shit. Whatever.
Well, I got the frogs for her, so she better think they're cool.
Yeah, no, I would never. Yeah, that would be a big flat 0 on a Christmas gift right there for me. No, we were talking about tubs and how that pisses you off, and I think that'll bother people.
Oh, the tubs for
tubs and
bins.
bins.
For inverts, I'm totally fine with, but when it comes to reptiles,
yeah,
no. People take a ball python, a corn snake, or a leo, slap it in this tiny shoe rack with some paper towel, and call it a day. Worse, the ball pythons are even worse because some of them, they'll put a water dish in that's not heavy enough for the snake to not tip. So if they change the water, that snake tips it immediately. Now it's sitting in water until the next day when hopefully they're going to check on it. If not, then it's going to sit even longer. You know what that does? Scale rot, respiratory issues. I mean, and then there's no stimulus for it. And there's the big myth when you have, oh, they eat better in a rack. No, I've seen no difference. When I had ball pythons and I bred them, I'll admit it, I had them in a rack. That was when I had 32 of them that a friend just dropped off on me, and that became my problem. So for a short period of time, I had them in the rack, bred them in that. And then I decided I don't want to be a part of that anymore because it seems like a horrible life. So I got rid of most of them, still have a couple. And as I was getting rid of them, I set them up in regular enclosures with UV lighting. And I never had an issue with any ball python refusing to feed. If they don't eat that week, they'll eat next week every time. And having to feed weekly, if it's a hatchling, yeah. Anything else? No. No reason. You're just power feeding it. They're not getting food every week in the wild, you know? They're getting one good meal, and then they're going to do their thing for the most part. You should just watch your animal. It'll tell you when it's hungry. It'll tell you when it's not, you know?
Yep.
Obese snakes in captivity is one of the main issues they die. Well, obese reptiles in general. That's one of the main causes of death in the hobby when it comes to that. You do a necropsy, especially monitor lizards. They're some of the worst. Monitors, the big pythons, the ball pythons and stuff.
Who was it that
cut them open and it's just huge fatty deposits all over to the point. I've seen a Burmese python that after they did the necropsy, they removed most, not all, most of fat buildup that was around the heart, and it came out to 3 pounds of fat.
Jesus.
That's insane. That's just around the heart causing pressure so it can't pump properly.
On a tube. That's around the heart of a tube. Like, that's a lot of pounds. Snakes are tubes. Yeah. Snakes are tubes. I said it. Yeah, I just think that I think that having no, especially now that we're finding out these reptiles and amphibians are smarter than we thought. Maybe not amphibians; they're pretty dumb, but our reptiles are really smart. Like I had no idea that they're as intelligent as they are. So to have them in that little solitary confinement, no interaction, no enrichment, no nothing. It's like, what are you doing? Why would
Iron Mountain Zoo is one of the worst zoos when it comes to reptiles. They literally have an exhibit with Ackie monitors on glass pebbles. That's their substrate. All the reptiles are on these artsy fucking substrates that aren't. It's literally either glass pebbles or something that looks pretty. It's nothing natural, not even sand. And that's how they're keeping them. They have like glass hammocks for them to sit on. because they want to try to bring more people into the house, and they think that's how it is. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. It's in Colorado. It's atrocious.
I kind of want to go there and just like heckle them. I heckle the guys at Brookfield Zoo. Brookfield Zoo is like one of the top zoos in the country. And I go in there and bust their balls all the time because there's dumb shit I see in there. And it's like, why are you doing this? Do you guys want to lose your rating? We had we went there one day and they have the cock of the rock there, right? The bird's perfect for this show.
Yeah.
So it's a super rare bird, I guess. I didn't know they were that rare. But they have 3 females, I think, and 1 male. Mm-hmm. And so they had them in a house that's basically a hallway. The whole house is a hallway. And then there's one little thing in the middle of it that's like off of the hallway. That's like an open air, birds flying around in there, right?
That's really cool.
It is, but it's old, so they don't have the double door on it anymore. There's not like 2 sets of doors. Like, most of those have 2 sets. Yep. This has the 1 set. And then it's just a hallway with automatically opening doors. So if anybody comes up, the doors just open. And if a bird happens to get out, they could just be gone.
Wow.
So I'm in there with my wife and my mom and my kid. And the female cock of the rock. It's winter time, so nobody else is there really. And the cock of the rock is out and in the hallway. And I'm like, whoa. So I'm beating on doors. I'm like, hey, trying to get somebody's attention. Because anybody who pulls these doors open, or whatever, this thing could just bail. So I have my mom on one door. I'm on the other. We're wailing on the keeper door. Somebody finally comes out pissed. What? I'm like, dude, your bird is out. So now I'm watching them. This bird is like the size of a small cockatoo. Mm-hmm. Right? Good sized bird. A couple pounds maybe.
Good size.
But they have these butterfly nets, like I shit you not, this big. And they're trying to catch this bird out of the air with these butterfly nets. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm getting mad. I'm heckling him. I'm like half yelling at him, like, knock it off. And this kid, God bless him, he must have been an intern or something. He had to be like 20. Just jumps up off the bench in the middle of the hall with the net and just nothing but net, like snatches his bird out of the air. And I was like, well, okay, he did it. The rest of them are like smacking it with the net while it's flying. I'm like, oh my God. They have hollow bones, right?
Yeah.
Easily broken. My mind. But that's at a Brookfield. That's at a top-rated zoo. I mean, there's no glass pebbles. But
I was at Franklin Zoo recently. Most of the enclosures were gorgeous, but they're invertebrates. Yeah. That was just poor. They had one enclosure, had a gigas in it on, looked like, it's that reptisoil stuff. It was way too shallow, and that's a horrible substrate to begin with. It was way too shallow, and the plaque had a Trigonulus macropygus, the Philippine flame-leg millipede on it. That one at least said that their main diet is decomposing organic matter. Now, the millipede next to it, though, was it was a Florida ivory, so Chicoboa spinageris, from what I saw walking around. But that one was labeled, I think that one was labeled scarlet millipede, which is Trigonulus coriolanus.
It's not even red.
They had the photo of actually that, the true, what are they called? Rusty millipedes, their common name. That was the actual photo. But again, the name was Chicobolus. It had that walking around. And that one said its diet was oranges. So
the diet is just oranges.
Just oranges. That's the only thing it said. But I will say the rest of the zoo was great. And they actually have Kias. And those are really cool to see in person.
I would love to see them set up. Dude, they're like
outdoor aviary for them. They're calling you. Like I was trying to get their kookaburra, which was right next to it, to do the sound.
Yeah.
And then the Kias kind of started making fun of me, it seemed like they were mocking me, trying to do the imitation, and then they started whistling. They were really cool to see.
Here's a pro tip, guys. If you go to the zoo, there's not a lot of people around, and you see a kookaburra, get out your phone, YouTube kookaburra call, and play it for them. And watch them lose their shit. Yep. It's so funny. Do it once. Do it once and leave them alone. It is a lot. It is a lot.
They're so loud.
Dude, it scares people.
Can't believe how a bird that size can make so much noise.
I don't know how far away you can hear them, but it's got to be miles. It's got to be. Jeez. But yeah, the one time we did it, there were 2 in there, and I didn't know it was male, female. I should have assumed. But the male heard it and starts looking around, and then he's looking for the bird that's calling, but it's my phone, so he can't see. So he's looking. He jumps on the female and mates, and then jumps off of her, starts yelling, jumps on her again. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Like she was not down for this at all. She was like, what are you doing? Like she was.
Oh man.
Yeah. We also got to see that same day, we got to see a woodpecker. No, not a woodpecker, a roadrunner
Really
engage in prostitution. So the keepers came out, gave the two roadrunners a mouse, each a dead mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Female eats it. Male grabs it, chases the female. She finally stops. He gives it to her. She eats it while he bangs her. I was like, I wish I had my phone out. It was amazing.
If you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it, right? You got to wine and dine him first. Got to be a gentleman.
The way to a woman's heart is through her stomach, apparently, and it is clearly the oldest profession. So,
Hershey Zoo in Pennsylvania has a really cool exhibit. They had roadrunners, burrowing owls, and gopher tortoises all in this
that's cool
exhibit, and they were just hanging out, having a blast. The burrowing owl is pretty territorial, so when you walk up to it, he does like the whole defensive dance and everything. He stretches his wings at you. It's really cool.
That's cool. See, I'm that maniac at the zoo that has to try to touch everything that you're like not supposed to. I don't do it when other people are around because I don't want to unless it's a super opportunity. Then I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Yep, you saw that. Okay, yeah. I just don't want anyone else to do it. Like I kind of know what I'm doing. I don't want anybody else to know what they're doing. Like if I get bit, I'm not gonna freak out, and I'm gonna freak out, but I'm not gonna like try to hurt the animal or make a big thing of it because I did it. It's my fault. But most people don't understand that.
Yeah, they get bit by the animal, and then immediately it's why did this thing do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing bites without warning. You just gotta know what you're looking for.
Right.
And if you can't do that, don't touch it. You know,
don't touch it.
Simple thing to follow.
I make it look pretty easy, but yeah. But it's okay. All right, back to the topic. All right, we did some good zoo stories. I love zoo stories. I love talking to zookeepers, even if they're former zookeepers, current woodworkers, or girth burgers.
Girth burgers.
Great name. Unbelievable. I can't believe I'm 50 and never heard that before. I never heard that phrase, let alone that it was a species of millipede. No, never. People rarely use the word girth around me. Very rarely. So, here's my selling pet peeves. These are selling pet peeves that I absolutely hate. And if you do these, stop. Please reach out to me, and I'll come find you and smack you for public decency, for the public's sake. Undercutting other sellers. What do I mean by that? Like on purpose. Mm-hmm. So you say I have a lot of ice pods. Let's say I have some money to myself. I'm set, and I'm selling millipedes. I found out Kevin's selling millipedes. Kevin's a bigger name. That's not necessarily bigger than me, but he's well known. Now I undercut specifically Kevin's prices. Undercut his prices, kind of copy his stuff, undercut his prices, basically run Kevin out of business to the point that Kevin's like, I'm going to sell my stuff. Find out Kevin's going to sell stuff. Then I offer Kevin to sell his stuff to me for a decent price, but a closing sale price, right? Now Kevin's out of business and I have his stock. Now I'm going to use his stock to go undercut Justin's stock. Then I buy Justin out, and I'm doing that. There's at least 3 people in the business doing that right now.
Yeah.
In the isopod business alone. I'm sure it's everywhere else, but the isopod business, isopods was not like this, but it wasn't big either. When I started, isopods was like the coolest little, everybody loves each other community. And it's starting to get, there's a couple people out there, bad actors, being cutthroat. So, yeah, a lot of you probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, fuck those people. I hope their business collapses.
Well, there was the one chick who stole Laura's whole care sheet that Laura was selling, and then she posted on her website.
Yeah, that's right.
She's a pretty big name now.
She's a big name now? The one selling that
sold? She's a pretty big name, and she's one of those, all my stuff's bioactive, ready to go. It has a bunch of worm castings and bat guano in it, you know?
I gotta find out who this is. I'm gonna drop the name. You already dropped names.
Rubber Ducky Isopods.
Rubber Ducky Isopods. I don't know who that is. I'm out of it. I have like 10 friends in the hobby.
Natasha something. But
Rubber ducky ice pods. I'm going to Google that up.
when it first came out, they took Laura's paper or descriptions of the isopods that she was selling.
Yeah.
And they copied everything, the photos, the text, everything, and was trying to put it out like it was theirs. And Laura had to issue a cease and desist, I believe. I could be wrong on the cease and desist, but I remember seeing something about that.
I mean, she probably just reached out and threatened.
Yeah, she's in Denver. Ryan,
she's no joke.
No.
That's awful. That is awful. See, that's kind of shit I'm talking about. Scammers. I want to try to work on some kind of database of scammers. If anybody has an idea how to do that, I'll fully support that and send people that way, or I will help you. Reach out if you know. I have some rough ideas, but I don't know how feasible they are. Like somewhere we could all send some people like, hey, you want to know who the scammers are? Here's a definitive list, or here's a good list right now of current scammers or known scammers. I don't ever want to start like a Yelp situation for businesses, and I hate Yelp.
There's the FBI herbiculture group on Facebook. They're really good with keeping that in. There's that one, and I think it's Herp Feedback and Review. Something Feedback and Review has exotics about it. That's even better. The admin on that, you post like, you have to have your screenshots. You have to have proof. You can't just go on there and be like, hey, this person's a jerk. This is why. You have, you have to be able to back up your stuff. And the admin will contact the other person, try to have their response come up, see if they'll defend themselves. And if not, then, well,
they go on the list.
That scammer or whatever.
I wonder if we could do that, like get them to add isopods to it or something, or like copy that format somewhere. Okay, we all know scammers suck because scammers change names all the time. Might be best to make a checklist of how to avoid a scammer. Okay, yeah, that works too. Good thinking, Ryan.
There we go. Herbiculture, Feedback, and Inquiry. Yeah, that's that really good group.
There you go. Check those guys out. Google Forms could be used to make scammer complaints with a way to submit the info. That could work too, Chris. Thanks. My last beef that I have for tonight, I'm sure we could do a series of these. This is just the iSpot community that I noticed it the most with, but I've seen it in other hobbies. Sellers using their personal issues as selling points. So unprofessional and so shitty. Mm-hmm. And I get it. People go through stuff. They have problems. Do some kind of sale or call it something else, like vaguely like what you're talking about. Like, my house burned down. I need money. Okay, we're having a fire sale. Yeah. Like, make it fun. I'm not saying that. I don't want to
make it fun. Have a joke.
I don't want to disrespect your awful opportunity to have s'mores, but say it. Yeah, Jay. I don't know if he ever watches this. There's a guy named Jay who uses kids all the time as a reason they need to make money, and it kills me.
I know
Jay Perkins.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a big. That's the one that like started it. That's the first person I saw doing it, and now he's not the only one, and I haven't seen him do it in a while. To be fair, I haven't seen him do it in a while, but it was a big deal. Oh, cancer sale. Oh my God, Beetle, you're the worst. That's. I feel bad laughing at that. Like.
That's a good one.
That's so shitty, but
dude, AIDS sale, HIV.
Oh my God. High five sale. High five, right? Go. Is that what they used to call it? High five?
We got the clap sale.
Oh yeah, I gotta get some antibiotics. We got all kinds of them. See, make it fun, guys.
There's a few dudes that used to use their grandkids. I think one of them stopped.
Your grandkids as stories to sell stuff? Like,
no, it's like, hey, I got these for my granddaughter. I got this for my grandson. And now I'm obsessed with these, and I can breed everything, and I'm going to give this a shot. Who wants to buy these?
Yeah,
like, nah, dude. Like,
that's a little different. I don't know. Or if your kid is breeding it. Like, I know people that their kids breed, and their kids are the keepers.
Breeding's different. But
they're doing a great job.
You bought something for your granddaughter, and now you're going to make money off of it? That's kind of shitty. Like, why? Just be like, hey, you got these. You want to breed and sell. I'd have respect for that. Don't be like, oh, my granddaughter did this. I'm doing this for her. really?
Yeah.
That's the gimmick you want to run with, dude? Grow
It's
up.
weird.
You're old
It's
enough.
weird. Oh yeah, like Kyle's saying now, he did a sale so he could fund a trip, but he didn't say that's what he was doing. Like, that's fine. Like, do that. Do a thing to support your kid, or your kid's sick. Like, do a sale. Don't be like, oh, guys, my kids.
Yeah.
Whatever
Not saying
sale.
you can't do sales. Hell, I just did a sale recently.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, don't come out and be like, oh, you know, I need money for my meds. I need money for court fees or whatever.
My kids' braces.
Like,
yeah.
Don't
alimony.
try to use that sympathy angle to get things.
Because
then you see scammers are doing that. Like, oh, I need money
Exactly.
for my kids' shoes. I need money for this. I need money for that. And then what happens? Now you tried to do a good thing because you felt sympathetic.
Yeah.
And then turns out, there you go. You're asked out however much money.
Yeah. It supports scammers, or it inspires scammers. And like recently, some people came up in a group chat. Iso Buddies has a group chat, and they're having hard times. So they asked for somebody to do something nice for their kids. Basically, that was it. Like, if anybody wants to get involved in this for my kids, so we can have a better Christmas. Awesome idea. Awesome to come to the community with it. That's what the ISOPod community is all about, right? Helping each other out. She wasn't asked for money, no products, nothing. Just, hey, send Christmas cards, whatever. Awesome. That said, I researched the shit out of that person to see, like, what's your scam? What's the scam here? What am I going to be out? Like, are you going to get my credit card numbers? Like, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
Turns out it's totally legit. If you heard the story, you know what I'm talking about. It's totally legit. I looked into it. It's good times. But that was my first instinct, is everything's a scam now. I work at a bank. Yeah. I deal with adverts and exotics. Everything is a scam. So
yeah, absolutely. I've had people send me my photos asking me if I'm going to buy it with my tattoos in my hand in the photo. Come on. Or people have sent me screenshots, and the profile picture of the guy is from Africa. He's clearly darker than night, but he has my hand. Again, my tattoo. That's why I take pictures with this hand. Okay. So you know it's me. No, it's like, oh, hey, I got these. Like, bro, you're darker than Wesley Snipes. How are you passing that hand off?
How are you? Ridiculous. I got really light palms, bro. That's all. That's wild. That is wild. The balls on some of these people with their, like, how stupid do they think people are? Like, and to be fair, some people must be stupid.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the guys with pickup lines. Like, clearly that pickup line worked once, and that's all they need. Like, that's all they need to use that line for 100 years, is it worked one time. And that's it. Non-removable watermark for your pics. Sweet. Yeah, right? Man said darker than night. Yeah, I have a picture of my daughter that I'm going to use that has the watermarks from the I'll have to post it up in the comments or something, but she took her school photos and we got them back, the proofs. You got kids or no?
Nope.
Yeah, so you send them for these school photos. You just, like, you dress them nice, you do their hair, you're like, all right, go. And it's just a long line. And you had them done, I'm sure, but it's just a long line. They put you in front of, like, all right, kids, smile, click, all right, goodbye, get the fuck out of here. So
yeah, it's exactly how it is.
So my kid, we get the proof back. This is her. I'm like, that's a meme. My wife won't let me do it. I have 4 memes all lined up. I said, she will be viral. The world will know who she is. So, but I'm going to use that photo. I'm going to blow it up with the watermarks. I'm not paying the guy for it. I'm going to blow it up at Walgreens into a poster, and I'm going to give her that poster on her wedding day.
You'll probably find somebody to clean out those watermarks for you.
I don't even want to. Like, I think it's funnier. I think
it is definitely funnier than that.
I think it's way funnier. So when I give it to her, I literally plan to save it and give it to her on her wedding day. Like, put it in a safe deposit box. Like, here you go, baby. I love you. What's his watermark? I wasn't paying for that picture. Are you serious right now? So yeah, we're doing a retake day, but it's pretty bad. I got to post a picture up in the group because it's so funny. I was like, this is definitely my kid. 100% my kid. Dealer seller ID type thing. Yeah. Verify your identity with your hand. Show me your hand.
Everyone's got to get. Every seller has to get a hand tat now.
Yeah, you get the Pokemon, get the Pokeball until they find out that's what it is. Have a good one,
You gotta
Miles.
catch 'em all.
One-way ticket to the nursing home, bro. I'll be in a nursing home. I'll definitely be in a nursing home. Nobody's going to want to keep me in their house at old age. My demented ass running around pulling pranks.
Yeah.
Access to whatever YouTube technology or TikTok bullshit is going on then.
Can't imagine
Later,
what's gonna
Miles.
be at then.
God. You got any more beefs? What else you got? We came in pretty hot, and I think we went through them pretty fast.
Nothing that I could really think of off the top of my head right now.
We're gonna do this again. So, yeah, I'm pretty much done. I'm wrung out from this thing. I like the idea of a scammer database or like tips and tricks to avoid scammers. Guys, if you think you're with a scammer, like, don't do it. If you suspect it's a scam, don't do the deal. Just don't do it. Stop. Better to not have pods than not have pods and your money. So, yeah. So just don't do it. Talk to somebody else that you know. Come to me. I'll send you to a reputable breeder that I absolutely will. I'll refund your money if they screw you. Okay, how's that? You can come to me. Not like the iSpot giveaway thing. I will give you your money through PayPal. And Pelly and Luch, you're gonna get your iSpots as soon as I get my shirts.
Yeah, definitely some with shipping practice pet peeves. I can't stand people that use USPS.
Yeah, that's fair.
A few of them are all right, but I know my post office is horrible. I'll drop off a package. It'll take 2 days sometimes before they ship it out. I usually have to go and argue with them. So lately I've been sending things UPS ground for dry goods. But
I mean, dry goods is fine.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's gonna die.
But like people, they'll be like, oh, why is shipping costs so high? I could send this USPS priority for $15.
Yeah.
Dude, you're spending $400 on 3 inverts. You think I'm gonna send it USPS? Like, no, has to be overnight.
Wild.
I said everyone, but then I redacted and said almost everyone.
I feel targeted by Sandy here. Did you cover this is her beef? I'd like to buy your blank, but I don't have enough money. I do that to everyone.
Let me talk to my spouse and I'll get back to you. That's a good one too. Or hey, I see you're running a sale. Can you discount that more for me? No, not at all.
Yeah,
like,
it's
such already trying to take advantage, dude.
Such a weird cutthroat world. After knowing a lot of you guys that are breeders and that's your living, like I don't haggle anymore at shows even, which that's.
It blows my mind that people are willing to haggle with a breeder.
Yeah.
But they're used to going to a store and you see the price, you pay for it.
Yep.
Like you're not calling managers and trying to haggle with them, are you? You go to get groceries, it says $100. You're paying $100.
Yeah.
That's it. Case in point.
You can try that trick in Big Daddy where you smash the cans on the floor and try to get half off something. It doesn't work.
It ain't gonna work.
They know you smashed the cans. Like they followed you around. They know. They heard that crashing and they were like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do that thing where I'm like, I'd love to buy your stuff, but I just don't have the money. Which I think for me is very honest. I would love to have cappuccinos. I can't afford cappuccinos. I would give them a huge, awesome setup, but I can't afford them. I just can't afford them, so I don't buy them.
Before I had a website where I could just say like, hey, check out my website for everything.
Yeah.
I had no problem with people messaging me like, hey, could I see your price list? I'm not looking to buy anything. I want to know what these cost for future, or can I have a price list? Not, hey, I want these now. I want this many. And then when I tell you a price, that's it. You just dip. Or it's I don't have money, or, oh, I got to ask this person, that person, I had 2 people tell me about their kids' birthdays and if I would discount things for them. Like, nah, I'm good. Especially I turned down the sales both times because what they wanted, a kid should have known. So, like,
ask them something weird, like send me a picture of your kid's last shit, and I'll discount you. Like
if you're telling me you want a discount for your kid's birthday, you have like a 7-year-old kid. He shouldn't be owning a tarantula or a centipede or a velvet worm or anything of those natures.
To be fair, no one should own a centipede. Like, they are terrifying. And I just saw a little pictures from a dude. You might have seen these pictures in one of the groups. I don't remember what group it was, but it was like It must have been 18 feet long. The centipede is probably like this. I don't know what species it was, but it ran up his arm while he was changing the thing or whatever. Like, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's doing maintenance on the bin. It ran up his arm and onto his head, and he just left it. He was trying to like put the bin up next to it because he didn't want it to jump on the floor. Obviously, he could get hurt. Oh no, my death machine got hurt. So,
dude, if you knew the price on some of these, you fucking cry. I just got one in that's almost $600.
How many meals can you have bought for homeless people for that money? And you spend it on a death machine.
Hey, they should get a job. That's my next beef. Them homeless people.
Oh my God.
On my sidewalks.
Not on my show. I'm super liberal. I'm super liberal. I love me some homeless. So anyway, this thing puts his head up behind his ear, like here, right? Can you see that? Right here? Right where it meets your brain? Right where your ear meets your brain. And just starts, he said it starts chewing. Well, there were pictures, but there were too many.
Nicholas?
Who?
Nicholas O'Connor?
I don't know. He had holes. He had like marks. I don't know who it was because I saw the holes behind his ear and I clicked away. I was like, there's no way. I'm going to have nightmares for a week. How he didn't kill that thing right there, I don't know how it didn't get murdered the second that I felt those death huggers penetrate my ear. Because they have a venom too, right?
Oh, yeah. They're all venomous, all centipedes.
And I mean, it's not going to kill you, but it probably hurts like a bastard.
Their venom varies for a lot of them. And most, we don't know how it acts. Like, some will send you to the hospital. Some will give you a boo-boo, you know? You get a little tummy ache.
It was Nicholas.
Really
yeah.
Yeah, Nick. He's been bit by a few things, he told me.
Dude, he just let it bite him. He said it was chewing on him. And I was like, first off, dude, I'm not buying anything from you. Those aren't teeth. They're arms. Okay. Slow your roll. Dude. Second off,
why did he remember what species he got bit by, but
it was a big one. It was. I'm not kidding you.
That's a real big money centipede. Like,
I want to say it had bright yellow legs. Because I'm seeing that.
Is it orange and black? Because that's Hardwicky. Those things go for almost $1,000.
Probably. I mean,
you're gonna flip out and crush that trying to get it off.
It's chewing on the back of my ear, bro. Actually, I wouldn't own it in the first place. I wouldn't own a $1 centipede. Or the only ones I like are those hairy legged ones, the house centipedes.
Those are pretty cool, actually.
And I don't like them on me, but I think they're cool. Yeah.
I think the ones that have died are in Asia. I know Dihani has a surprisingly strong venom for being as cheap and as common a species as it is. Like, you get Dihanis for about $35. They get maybe 7 inches. My largest one was 7 inches. I think they can hit 8 or 9. And they have a pretty strong venom from what I've been told.
See, and
piece of flavor. Well, that's a type of suspinipes, I think, right? Yeah, those have a good venom too. That's actually, I just got in on the mint, which is another type of suspinipes. And that one I was kind of worried was gonna bite me. I went to go move it in its new enclosure. It was just sitting there kind of calm when I took it out the cup. So doing a little mixing up, moving some hides in there and spraying it, and he shot up my arm and dropped back into the tub. And I thought, like, I'm allergic to bees and stuff, you know? Like, this could really be a problem if I get bit right now. But
how many of those you got in your house right now? How many of those you got in your house right now?
Huh?
How many of those you got in your house right now, bee sting?
Yeah,
you don't even know. It's more than a dozen.
Well,
you said you have babies.
I have 30 babies, 3 adult ethmostigmas, 2 Dihani, and then the new mint legs. Yeah, it's back into subspinipes. So is
how do you keep up with this shit?
Toraha, I think, however it's pronounced.
I don't know how you guys keep up with these scientific names.
Nerds.
I guess, man. Like
what it comes down to.
Like they just keep flip-flopping them. And I thought it was just isopods because that's the first one I really got into. But it's everything. You look at it, it's everything's getting reclassified all the time.
And then, trying to keep up with new classifications, that becomes a real headache.
Well, and imagine you miss one and you got 4 a-holes that come out of nowhere to correct you. And you're like, and you're arguing to them because you don't know any better. You don't know, like, that it changed. You didn't get the email or the text or however the hell they learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys just sit and watch the website? Like, Oh my God, did it change? Is it there? Is it the same? Oh God, it changed.
I probably look through the same resource sites
Yeah.
almost daily, trying to think if I could just find something. Like I'll type in some type of whatever and look that up.
Javier is my new favorite viewer. He'll probably never come back, but that's awesome. The dose of the tism. I want that on a t-shirt too. We could be making a lot of t-shirts today.
I wonder how many people are going to understand that one.
I'm going to guess autism, but there's only tism I know about, but a good dose of, we're all a little bit autistic, right? Like everyone who does these kind of animals. Are the what equivalent? The need equivalent of peacock feathers? Am I reading that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nerd equivalent. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah, they kind of are. But it makes sense. I definitely get the use of it, especially if you're a breeder. You definitely want those on there.
Yeah.
So
I've said this before. I have 2 species of millipede that are both referred to as flame light, and one's from Madagascar, one's from the Philippines. Very different care. So scientific names are a must when it comes to this.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I never get into it that deep to where it affects. That's probably a beef too. That idiots that have a YouTube
I can't
show.
stand common names, any of them, even like flame like. Yeah, that's cool. On, man. But why?
Come on, man. Respect. Mine are dope. My comment.
Yeah, that's dope. A big thing coming in now. Text people who swear they know everything. This, like, oh, this is this group. This belongs in this genus because of this. It looks similar to that. And then you have actual people who study the things and who study these species and classify them for a living. And they look at it like, it looks similar, except if you look at this tubercle here and the way it curves different, or the gonopod structure here, or the clasps on this, the terminal legs, the telson spike, etc. Instead, you have, oh, well, I read it over here and it kind of looks like that. And no, it can't be this because blah, blah, blah. They just follow whatever. I've seen a few people now in the millipede community try to just fucking name things like they can give something a scientific name. I've literally seen this. People think, oh, I found this. No, you didn't find this. It's been found, stupid. You're just not a scientist, and there's no money to actually put it in a species group.
You found it at the pet store.
Dude, like, so like, there's this one guy that legitimately, he came up with his name. It was like something Goku. Because he was like, oh, well, I found it, so this is what I'm calling it. Bro, you're not a scientist. What credentials do you have? And his answer was dead ass, oh, well, I found it. What's the difference between me calling it this and a scientist? Like, oh, because a scientist studies this and puts it in publication with data to back up his claim. Like, it actually means something, the name they put behind it. It's not just some random cool word, you know?
Now, I feel like if I found a new life form and I sent it to the scientists to get classified, now do I get to name it?
Some will let you, some won't.
If I'm the one that sends it in. So some science nerd is going to snatch my scientific discovery?
Yeah. I know someone that happened to, and he's in the chat.
I could take out that nerd. I'll tell you, I'll throw elbows. I'll jack that lab right up. Don't if I ever discover anything, I live in the Midwest. Like, I'm not discovering anything. But
to be honest, that's a huge thing in the scientific community. Stealing people's stuff. Like, that's a big thing. When I proposed one of my ideas to my buddy over at CSU for a study that I want to conduct to help my own husbandry, he told me keep it to myself and only speak with people I trust about it. Because other people will steal that and try to publish it as their own.
That's so shit.
That's how serious this is.
That's crazy. I wonder if you could do a thing where you post it on your little YouTube channel or whatever on your website and then send it in. And then be like, nah, man, I found, like, this is it. This is the proof.
I did this first.
Yeah, I found it. Like, I just sent it to you to verify. Like, that's it. And I made a $12 donation to your lab. So.
Yeah,
make it happen, bro. Make it happen. That buys
There's somebody in the chat right now who sent a specimen to a scientist.
Who's that?
Didn't get any credit. If they want to speak up, they can. I won't.
Oh, if you're in the chat, I thought you said you saw somebody.
Oh no, the person is in here.
People will take it personally if you try to correct their ID. Yeah, they do. Yeah, people get pissed. I don't correct people anymore that much. I try not to. I throw my thing up there, and then if you try to correct me, you better bring the paperwork to back you up, because
exactly.
I'll crush you.
Oh, well, my YouTube favorite said this.
What was that dude? You came and backed me up on that too. The guy with the leaf, like talking about. Some dude was talking about sterilizing the leaves and then re-soaking them and then inoculating them with the right bacteria and stuff. But then he was like, but that wouldn't work. Like, he argued himself out of his own point.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because it's impossible in his mind to go back and re-inoculate something so it'll actually break down. How do you think this happens in nature?
Well, he said he could re-inoculate it.
Sterilized in nature, but where do you think this stuff comes from, bro? It's there. If you have it and you dump it on there, what's going to happen? It's going to go bye-bye? No, stupid. It's going to fucking take over and do what it's designed to do.
Well, his thing was specifically that you would re-inoculate it with, like, the good microbes, so it wasn't contaminated. But then he was like, immediately after, he's like, well, it would get contaminated as soon as it got in contact with the air.
Yeah, you just
stuff you don't know. Yeah. So I was like, so it doesn't work. So why did you? I didn't say anything, but I was like, why did you even post this, dude?
Yeah,
you talked yourself
Alan was the one who found the beetle and didn't get the credit.
It sounds like Alan. It sounds like a Alan thing.
It's definitely an Alan thing. Alan not getting credit for his work seems like something that's happened a few times as long as I've known him.
That sounds like Alan or Lars, like one of those two guys has had.
Alan's the actual academic.
Okay, all right.
Lars is good with pill millipedes, though. He finds all the papers on those things. He's really a good source for that.
I love all the guys that are and I feel like they seem to take it more seriously. The citizen scientist type of guys that aren't degreed or been to university, and they're still just knocking it out. Like a lot of these kids, like Tennyson, who's in the chat right now, Ryan. A lot of these guys I super respect and super back up. Kyle's a little burnout. He's done a lot of his research. He's not little anymore. My little brother. He's done a lot of his homework. Like, I trust his classifications and stuff. And he'll be the one to tell you, like, hey, man, I don't know. Let me find out.
So I know Jedi Monkey is joking with the bleach. But
Jedi Monkey? Yes, he is. Yes.
Some people do use diluted ammonia to jumpstart flake soil.
Oh.
I've tried it out. I don't like the results.
Okay.
And typically, the flake soil process produces enough of its own ammonia to not take that risk, because it's really easy to add a little too much and end up with something more harmful than good. The whole reason for the ammonia is because nitrates will consume that and helps work symbiotically.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, it'd probably work, but you're saying it doesn't work as well. It's just
and it's easy for someone to mess it up and end up with a toxic product. So
a giant bit of toxic ammonia dirt. Yeah. Kyle, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think there's like armadillidium specifically can process arsenic. Like, it doesn't harm them. I think arsenic is a mammal thing. I don't think it affects.
I'm not sure on that.
It's the same, but I think my brain is telling me that I'm right, but that doesn't mean that I'm right.
I don't know why that made me think of this. I got another beef. I don't use any organic produce ever.
Yes, we talked about this.
I fucking see are people, it's got to be organic this, organic that. You know, organic produce uses organic pesticides. You're not fucking pesticide free. You wash that stuff off, you're good to go, bro. It's that simple. Yeah, that's one of the biggest gripes I had in all these. It's got to be organic. Does it?
As a chef,
the research that says that's cleaner than this one when I'm washing them the same way.
Yeah, Alan's right.
People lose stuff to organic produce. People lose stuff to organic soil. You know, the organic soil thing, that's cool because it doesn't have the extra chemicals added to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of other soils, the synthetic chemicals, they're really not bad. I'm going to go out there and say it. Like, they're not beneficial. I wouldn't use that for like most detritivores. I wouldn't use a pure non-organic thing just because organic stuff, from what I've noticed, has a lot more compost added to it. So usually it's better.
Okay.
But I mean, and if you take a vitamin supplement from a store, that's a synthetic vitamin you're taking. It's not something that they mine naturally most often than not. It's
what if
something
it says
in the lab
organic?
put in a pill.
What if it says organic, bro?
Yeah.
You know, what if my vitamin D is organic, bro?
Yeah.
My calcium.
Organic, like all the hippie chicks you see at festivals. I only eat organic vegan food as they do ketamine off my dick. Like, come on. Ridiculous. I'm married now, so that hasn't happened in a while. I should clarify that when my wife sees this, kicks my ass.
That hasn't happened. Oh my God. If your wife watches, have her sub, because I just lost like 10 subs. So, like just now. Either I did or I got 100. So there's no middle ground on this one. Joined my fair share of synthetic chemical. We all have, dude. We all have. It's got a bunch. Did he really? Yeah, organic produce is a joke. Organic produce is a joke for everybody. Like, it's not, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a label. Like gourmet cat food. Like,
and I can honestly and freely say that most of the big breeders aren't using organic produce.
Oh, for sure not. They're probably using the, and I mean, to be honest, you can feed your isopods anything. Like, swear to God, you can really feed them anything that doesn't have pesticides on it actively. Like, so the questions of like, what can I feed them? You can feed them anything. It's a matter of should you, right? Like, they'll eat it. But like, there's definitely better choices. But you could literally give them anything.
Organic ketamine would be interesting.
Organic ketamine.
Free range, non-GMO, gluten-free ketamine.
What's that stuff liberals are sucking out at toddlers? Adrenochrome. That's organic, right?
Oh, that stuff. Yeah.
You didn't hear about that?
That's not liberals. That's the elite. You know, the people
the
of the
elite?
Illuminati. Yeah.
It's not just
baby's
liberals.
Neck, suck it out like a milkshake.
Like that episode of South Park?
Yeah.
With the stem cells? That was so messed up. It's like crack them in half.
Yeah. How else are you going to get that delicious adrenochrome?
You got to get it, man.
That science can't prove is there.
If you're watching this, no, adrenochrome exists, and it exists in us, but it's like you can get it, like it's all over the place. Like, it's not just in babies. Like, yeah, you can get it everywhere. I think they make it synthetic, like it's everywhere. So I don't know if it's more pure in the babies, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. They sell it out of a pizza place in the basement. It doesn't have a basement.
Bro, the pizza stuff. Like, how are you tarnishing most people's favorite food? I'm gonna go out and say that because there's not a lot of old people left, according to recent census stats. It's mostly the young generation. So,
what
do we like? Pizza.
Yep. Finally, old people are dying. Finally. Oh, it's for the elite billionaires, most of which aren't liberal. No.
Non-GMO adrenochrome. I don't know. Non-GMO, you got to get a baby before he gets all his vaccines, if that's going to work.
Oh, yeah, no vaccines. You gotta do that. I just bought a vaccine or a virus puppet because I'm going to do like a puppet news type of thing, shorts. And I had to. Yeah, I had to get a vaccine or a virus puppet that's like anti-vaccine and fake conspiracy.
Like Mystery Science Theater, like watch different news shows discussing the vaccine with your
kind of like not funny. Just like that, but not funny, like just sad.
Just sad.
It's all my voice, all 7 characters, just like, yeah, so the other day I was watching the news. Fucking liberals.
You don't even change your voice, just one mouth opens and the other
sucking
one.
juice out of babies. I don't know, man. Ketamine.
Sweet, sweet baby juice.
Sweet, sweet baby juice. Satanic Panic of the 70s? There's the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Yeah, that was in Adrenochrome too. I don't even know what it does.
Yeah,
but it's
but
not
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas also said you could keep ether in a hot trunk in Nevada, and it's pretty volatile.
I feel like that'd be a bad idea. I'm not a chemist.
It wouldn't stay.
What's the stuff they put on a rag and knock you out?
Chloroform? Not that effective. If you're not hyperventilating, it doesn't work. I've tried it on myself.
I just ordered some because I'm going to be single. No. Neither of those things is true.
Chloroform to what did I knock out? I used it successfully to knock out a tarantula.
Okay.
Try to sex it. I've also used that to kill a tarantula that got stuck in a molt. Felt really bad for it.
Sure.
I've used it to knock out hedgehog, mice, and I was gonna use that for my centipedes to try to sex them. So I had it on hand and decided to try huffing it to knock myself out.
Don't you just dunk your centipede underwater? Was that you that told me that?
Well, that's one way they do it. They put it in cold water until they stop wriggling around, and then they'll pull it out and sex it that way. Or use chloroform, or if you're a licensed vet, then you would have access to isoflurane. You could use that.
So basically knock them out and then express the gonads.
Knock them out, yeah, and then you give it a light squeeze, and hopefully you got a pair.
If not, hopefully you didn't match the pair, right?
If not, it's going to be an expensive trial and error until you get one. Most people don't sex them because of how difficult it is to sex.
Sounds traumatic. Sounds super traumatic.
Yeah.
No, Kyle, I'm not leaving my wife. Nothing's happened to my wife. I'm like, I'll die single if anything happens to my wife. Like, I'll die alone. Like, there's no question. I'm way too shitty to be dating again. Guys, this has been a good one. There's been a lot of beef. I can talk another 4 hours, but I got to get to bed. So you're in New York. It's got to be like 2 in the morning there.
What is it? It's 11:30 or almost 11:30 right now.
Well, I guess I shouldn't complain that much. I'm still going to have a couple bowls of Frosted Flakes before I go. I was spacing out because I was feeding bugs. For a second, I thought you were talking about drug making process. I mean, we could. Could be another episode.
I don't know if I want to be on camera for that one.
I mean, is it legal to give recipes? Probably.
For educational purposes only.
Kids, don't make this meth at home.
Like if you pick up a copy of T-Cal or P-Cal written by Alexander Shulgin, the very back has recipes for some fun things. But if you don't know chemistry, they will give you nothing but inactive compounds. You have to know just enough to know what's deliberately wrong in the book. By doing that, you can get away with publishing things openly.
I like that because it's not dummies. It's like people that have an education and kind of know.
You have to know what you're doing with that. I definitely recommend those books, though, for anyone with an interest in chemistry.
K-pop and D-pop. All right.
P-Cal and T-Cal, written by Alexander Shulgin. He's like the godfather of chemistry. He's the first person to ever try MDMA. He's the first person to look at MDMA, realize what it was, synthesize it, and then try it on him.
Like within that same day. He found it, realized what it was, and was like, dude, we got to try this.
It was one of the spoils of war we got from World War II. It was a byproduct of a chemical the Nazis were working on. And when Shulgin saw the molecular structure, it looks extremely similar to serotonin. He was like, hey, this would have this effect. So he experimented with monkeys and cats. And then that led him to experimenting on himself.
These guys are always getting monkeys high. Is that a good idea? Like getting monkeys high? I feel like it's not the best idea. Like, let's watch monkeys trip balls. Like, that sounds awesome. Awesome.
Think there's still a video around with that and the cat, the monkeys laying down with the cat just petting it.
Like, bro, your skin is so soft. Dude, I want to bang this plant.
MDMA could be made non-GMO and organically.
I think you could.
I don't know if organically because you will have to use some synthetic compounds. But if you harvest the sassafras oil from a sassafras tree, you get it from the roots. Then technically, you're starting off non-GMO and organic as long as it wasn't sprayed with any non-organic fertilizer. So maybe, who knows?
Maybe.
I'm not a chemist by any means, so I can't really answer that.
I mean, you knew it was sassafras oil. You're pretty close. Pretty close to a recipe there. Flake soil.
There's a lot of other things involved.
There's a green Jolly Rancher, sassafras oil, your mom's hairnet.
Her panties. That gives you the better strain.
How do we know that? Kevin and I both know that. It's your mom's. Your mom's. Jim, we're talking to you, Jim. You should call your mom once in a while. She worries.
Gucci.
Gucci taught us how to cook crack. Who's Gucci? Is that you?
Nah, it's a rapper.
It's not your nickname? Oh, okay. All right. I thought it might have been your nickname.
Nah, I haven't been called Gucci.
Gucci's a rapper? He has step-by-step rap for making crack. Wow. That's art. That's art.
That's what sells, right?
Right? I'm going to put myself big because I want you to have the opportunity to make fun of my patron block again. Guys, we got a new one. Vance started a new row. That could have been you. That could have been you supporting the show. This is everybody. We're doing it backwards. This is everybody, guys. There's my scroll. Patreon. And I'm going to use the old Patreon thing. 1, because that's permanent ink. And 2, because their new, like, weird pigeon toe footprint thing isn't great. We call Kevin Gucci because he's rolling in that velvet worm money. Nice. See, that's another thing. I tried to weasel him into it. I was like, dude, you know I have a lot of followers. Like, you just send me some velvet worms. It'd be dope. But I'm in no way prepared. I will be honest. I've had a lot of people offer me a lot of stuff, and I've been like, nah. At some point, I probably should have turned Sandy down for my skink. Because I was not prepared. Even when I waited and it showed up, I was finally like, yeah, send it. It's almost winter. And then I was like, shit, I got to get all this stuff out of the garage. Yeah, now she's set up. I love her, but I was not prepared. But velvet worms would be, I feel like that's a level of dedication I don't have.
Got to work your way up to get them.
Yeah, I know a couple of people that I trust as keepers. I've tried them and they died. Mm-hmm. So, like pretty fast. Like they were doing okay and all of a sudden they were just dead.
Oh, so, yeah. I know some really experienced invert keepers that breed things that I failed multiple times with, and they couldn't get them going. So
you just have the magic sauce. Is it like the New York water?
That's exactly it. Well, I had them going good when I was in Colorado too. So
okay,
it's that New York swag that keeps them going.
Jesus, so they're starving, but they're alive. All right, good. New York swag. I swear, we talk about New York more now that I said that I thought like for a second you were from Jersey, because I don't know any better. I'm Midwest. I don't know any better. It's all East Coast. Everything east of me is New York or Jersey. There's only 2 choices. I don't even count Boston. It's feeding them ketamine, the key. There's a lot of ketamine talk.
That's how I got the Gigas to breed.
They're really into it. They're really into it. The millipedes. Oh yeah, the millipede loot. What's your most expensive millipede that you got right now?
Fistagonionis Sakalava, just because it's myself and 2 people I've sent them to that have them. So now, I would say they are, even though I don't have a price on them.
Okay.
Then my Spiroboas girth burgers were selling for over $200 a piece when people actually had them in. My massive Gigas go for over 200 right now. So,
what's a girth burger? Like, explain a girth burger to me before we go. That'll be the last thing we do. Let's explain to me a girth burger. Yeah, like what? It's a big millipede, obviously, but like what makes it?
Honestly, special? I've seen bigger.
It looks like a giant smoky oak to me, is what it looks like. But
it has this really nice red color to it, and better light. They have this red with a dull gray in between the segments, like a light banding to it. They're not that stocky. They're about as stocky, maybe a little thinner than a Gigas. Fisher Eye are a comparable thickness to them, or Mardonius pirilis, the
Okay.
red-legged fisher eye. What other species do I have that are similar? Yeah, that's about it as far as what I keep that's similar in girth. So I don't know why they're called that. Here in the U.S., they were labeled giant red Thai, which makes sense. They're from Thailand. They're red and they're giant. The UK is calling them girth burgers. So
Girth burgers.
yeah.
They don't nail a lot of stuff, but that is a great name. That damn it. I thought there somebody was suggesting that as like an isopod name. And I was like, I gotta get on that. I gotta start scrolling through isopod pics and suggest that to somebody to have that be the, but I can't now. It's taken. So I gotta come up with something else.
Still keep chickabolas? No. I sent the last bit to Ryan Dow. He has your Mikasuki. So
Let's just talk to him.
hopefully he's keeping them going.
He's a hater of misinformation as well. But yeah, I think I learned a lot tonight. I hope I passed on some information tonight. I think we did. So if you ever guys have any questions, just contact us. Kevin and I will tell you everything you need to know about anything, and take it 100% to the bank. All right. So
Yep. Nothing but solid information.
nothing but.
Well, I started off clearing misinformation spread by me.
Yeah. My biggest pet peeve is people not taking my misinformation. But I will let you know who knows the information that you're looking for. I will steer you in the right direction or find out. You thought, Kyle thought you were a middle-aged man with gray hair. I'm a middle-aged man with brown hair. Fantastic brown hair.
35. Not real middle-aged, but
35, it's midlife, right?
I'm close to it, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm almost 50, dude. It kills me.
Man, see, you're old.
I know, but I don't look it or feel it like it's bad. I'm starting to look it, but
that baby face of yours.
It is. It's bad. And the fact that I still have like piles of action figures and comic books, and I'm a giant child, play with roly-polies.
Hey, aren't we all?
Hopefully. You're pretty and middle-aged. Invertebrate says you're pretty and middle-aged. That's good. With modern science, I don't see why 200 to 250. Nah, kill me way before that, dude. I know a couple of 100-year-olds, and forget it. Take me out way before that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, drive a bus into me or something. Yeah, like figure it out.
Way too old. If I can't walk, why would I want to be around, you know?
Right. Throw me in front of a mass shooter and save yourself. Like just
yeah.
That's we're gonna have one every 3 days pretty soon, like in every city in America every 3 days. That's another pet peeve. That's for another episode. All right, guys, it's been like over 2 hours. This has been a great one. I loved it. Hopefully all of you stayed with me. If you're new here, like and subscribe. If you haven't done it already, please. Thank you. I love you. I'm almost at 500. I'm super excited. It's nothing. 500 is literally nothing, but I would love it. Guys, have a good one. Kevin, thanks for coming on again.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Always awesome having you on. So we'll do this again ASAP. Yeah. But guys, I will talk to you later. All right?
Yeah.
Peace.
Have a good night, guys.
And I think